Good evening once again and welcome to Germany for the PSGL F1 German Grand Prix from the historical Hockenheim ring. And after the dramatic events of France last week, we are into basically the halfway stage of the season as we head into our usual 18-minute qualifying session and a 34-lap race of a circuit which was once known for its monstrous long straights but had itself cut to pieces back in the early 21st century. But the track we are left with is still promising some exciting action, as we saw in PSGL during the F1 2016 era across many of the divisions. So then, let's take a quick look at the track. 4.5 kilometers, 17 corners. There are 3 DRS zones at this particular track, and it will be the main area of the DRS zone 1 between the S-curve and the hairpin, where we will see the majority of the overtaking action. Possibly we may see some free wide, and then we shall have a look at the tyre choices. The ultra soft tyres, the softs and the mediums. Now, because of the short pit lane, we may see a variety of different strategies here. 1 and 2 stop very much viable here at Germany because of the short pit stop here, about 18 seconds. Let's have a quick look at the championship standings then. After 5 rounds of the season, we have our third different championship leader of the season. It is VSR Blizzard, who after his brilliant victory at France last week takes the lead of the championship. 6 points gap to Game of the Best, who had a race to forget last week at Paul Ricard. Big C in third, Cliffy in fourth, and CCBRAIN showing good form in recent times come into the top 5, and Lewis having perhaps his best performance of the season for Ferrari as the defending champion. Now up to SIP. KB Killer has not really found much form since winning in Britain, and Abiodun, Michemery and the season 19 champion Ash Best making up the top 10. And then the Constructors' Championship. For the first time we have some daylight at the top of the standings, with Toro Rosso, last season's runners-up, now having a 22-point advantage to McLaren, and Williams having a real race to forget last week in France. Neither of their drivers scoring. Renault and Ferrari back into the top 5, with Mercedes and Red Bull leading the chasing pack in that midfield, and then Force India having a significant advantage to Haas and Sauber, who have literally not got to double figures. They really need some points, and there's one driver in particular who will be desperate for any sort of points here, and that indeed is CSR Leon, and we'll be wishing him well on getting some points today, finally, having not got any so far this season. So we are going straight into the action here at Germany. Perfectly timed. The lobby has just started to load. So let's actually get the sound on for that part of it, and then we shall go from there. Just waiting for the loading screen to load. Then I will get rid of this graphic, which you can see on your screen at the moment. Let's just have a quick look at the chat. Who have we got in here? We have JPTV, we have Josh, we have Dale, we have Epic Game. I always forget who you are. I do apologize, but your name is much different to your actual gamer tag. But as I mentioned, we're going to go into an 18-minute qualifying session, followed by 34 laps of the Hockenheim ring. Now, we've had 5 different winners from the first 5 races, which just shows you how open the competition has been in PSGL F1 this season. And finally, we are here. So, gloomy skies above Germany, in southern Germany at the moment. So whether that indicates some early rain for this qualifying session, I am not sure. We have 19 drivers out there today, and we have a debutant here tonight, and that is Leefindlay. He replaced Cherry 2 Pie at Mercedes, and now he will make his debut at the home of Mercedes. And speaking of home races, we have 2 drivers who are looking to get glory for their country. CCBRAIN and Abiodun, both German, so keep an eye out for those 2. How they would love to win their home race. Now, this track I feel was a real miss on F1 2017, so it is great to see it back. We've seen some great action across the PSGL leagues over the past few days, and then after this we will go to Hungary and then the legendary Spa to finish the European races for this season, and then we'll have Singapore, Brazil and Abu Dhabi to finish off things. So here we got some cars heading out onto track. And will Ashbest make his customary dash? And apparently he may not have done. Blizzard then. Let's go on board with him briefly. The championship leader. He's in fine fettle after that great win at France last week. Pole position as well. It would have been an even better day for Toro Rosso if KB Killer had not got into those problems early on. KB Killer just hasn't really quite found the results to match his speed after that victory at Silverstone. But Blizzard, well, we'll get the lawnmower engines off, unfortunately, but so we'll go back to the outside view. But Blizzard really looking good going into this race. He won the Senna trophy, then he got another pole position in PSGL F1. So in terms of qualifying, he's doing all the right things at the moment. Frames are dropping, apparently. Well, I have to admit, I have got an electrical storm around where I am at the moment, so I hope that's not going to affect the quality of the connection, but I will check some settings just in case. Let's get off that. That sounds absolutely awful, the revving. As we go back on board with Ash Best. Yeah, I have got a storm around where I live, so it might be affecting my connection just a little bit. But hopefully it won't drop it. If it gets really bad, then I may consider restarting it briefly. But hopefully I won't have to do that. We'll follow Ash Best, who goes miles wide and probably just invalidated straight away for that one. So, your predictions for the pole position and the top 3 for the race. I would be really interested to know that. In terms of the quali time, well, I think we'll be looking... Well, I think we'll be looking in the 1-minute 10s at least. Perhaps a few of the drivers will also be able to do something into the 1-minute 9s as well. Yellow's in sector 3. Leefindlay, Game Freaker, is a newcomer to PSGL F1. I believe he's racing AOR. I'm not entirely sure. But he's making his debut in PSGL F1 today. Straight into the 1-minute 10s, Abiodun with a... I'm not sure that's a representative time. But Blizzard's time, slightly more like it. 1-minute 10, 2:22 for the championship leader. Setting an early marker there. I'm just checking some settings in case there is something going on. So I'm just checking my ping and things like that. Because I've literally, last few minutes, I've had about 3 or 4 lightning strikes very close to my house. So hopefully it's over. But after quali, what I might do, I might restart OBS and everything else, and then get it back going there. So we've only got 4 times on the board at the moment. Let's have a look at Leefindlay as he heads down to the hairpin at turn 6. Very tricky corner, this one. If you get your braking wrong, you'll go deep and you'll lose so much time. So heading through then to the end of sector 2. This looks fairly smooth. Oh, slight lock of the left tyre from Lee. But now going up through the gears. That's very nicely done actually by Lee. Goes through sector 2. Let's actually get the telemetry and the time screening up. And then heading into the Sachs curve at turn 13. Game of the Best has left the session. I wonder if that's just a disconnect. Now heading out onto the start-finish straight. What is this going to be for Leefindlay? And his first time in PSGL is a 1:11.323. So that puts him into the top 10 for the time being. And in terms of the tyres being used, everyone who's set a time in the top 7 on the Ultra Softs, and then Liquid Blocks and CCBRAIN on the soft compound. Yeah, I've just got the window up on the stream onto the podium just to check the quality. It looks fine to me, but please let us know if you get any more dropouts. I will consider restarting after quali is over, but I don't want to disturb the coverage here. So then, top 10, only once a set time so far. Might see if I can get hold of Big C, see what he's up to. Big C heading for the final corner, and he is on the ultra soft tyres for McLaren. The Australia race winner crosses the line. Has he invalidated somewhere? This might be his flying lap actually. So let's carry on then with Big C. Through the north curve it goes. Very easy to cut the corner or run wide in validation. It's probably one of the hardest turn 1s in the game to get correct. And then heading out towards the Parabolica. It is kind of strange it is called the Parabolica because it bears absolutely no relation to the one at Monza. Into the hairpin he goes. Big C's probably gone around this corner a billion times in his PSGL career. Incidentally, he is actually a former two-time winner at this particular track in the history of this division. And Ugi Azim has actually won the last two at this track back on F1 2016. So he'll be looking for a hat-trick. I think he'd be absolutely delighted with that. He hasn't been on the podium since the opening race in Australia. So Big C heading through the fantastic turn 12. Such a satisfying corner when you let the engine brake and do the work. Then through 14, 15. Nice sweeping section of corners. And then heading out towards the final turn at turn 17. Oh, Big C runs wide. I wonder if he got an invalidation for that. No, he didn't in the end. But he's 8 tenths off. Whether that's a representative time, can't say at this time, because I do think there's a few drivers in this grid who, if they were going flat out on the ultras, could get into the 1-minute 9s. But Big C currently P7. KB Killer hasn't set a time yet. He's on an outlap, as is CCBRAIN. So at the moment, in terms of the battle between the two Germans, Abiodun is significantly faster than CCBRAIN, but clearly 2 seconds off the pace. That is not a representative time for ultra softs, because CCBRAIN's only been on the softs. So we've got Blizzard, Falcon, Michemery, Leon, Abiodun, AMS, Big C, Leefindlay, Ugizim and Little Blocks in the top 10. So let's have a look at the actual times here. So yeah, only the top 5 in the 1-minute 10s at the moment. Let's see what is Ash Best up to at the moment. Ash Best, I think, very strongly believe did invalidate. He's on the softs actually. So that's interesting. Oh, big lock up of the tyres. Just about made the apex, but I think he may have lost a tenth or two there because he didn't get the best traction out of that corner, but that's what the softs will do to you. It's very gloomy here, and according to what I've been told, it may be a wet race, but we will wait to find out. Let's have a look at KB Killer on the ultras. We'll keep an eye on Ash Best though, just want to see how the softs handle turn 12, heading up towards the Sachs curve. Doesn't look particularly quick, but you may just be trying to get a feel for the circuit. If it is a wet race, then everybody is going to be on the ultra soft. Surely it'd be a waste of time being on the soft tyres, and Ash Best pulls back into the pits. It's definitely getting a feel for the circuit. And here comes KB Killer. He's had some good results for Toro Rosso this season. He and Blizzard have been a really good combination. It was a very close fight in the constructors until France. Now a 22-point gap for the Toro Rosso team at the top. Game of the Best has left the session again. Well, that would be a huge blow if he can't get back into the session. But hopefully he at least got out to put the setup on. Here comes KB Killer. It's a 1:10.455. So it's a Toro Rosso 1-2 at the moment with just over 8.5 minutes of the session to go. So that's good stuff. And let's have a look at Cliffy then. Cliffy hasn't set a time. Cliffy heading through the Sachs curve, heading towards the end of Sector 3. This is on the soft compound. I suspect he might be pulling into the pits. Or is he? No, he's going to carry on. As the clock ticks to 8 minutes, Cliffy heading for the line. And that may have been an invalidated lap. Yep, this looks more like a lap in anger here. Heading in from the Nor curve, then onto the Parabolica to the end of Sector 1. Really not sure why, if it is indeed a wet race, why people are actually... And Falcon has now left the session. Having a few connection issues here. I wonder if this storm is affecting me, but Falcon did mention he had a power cut not that long before the race, so one of the power's gone again on him. We'll carry on with Cliffy for a few more moments, heading out towards the fast turn 7 and then turn 8. Which isn't the trickiest braking zone, except in the wet. In the wet, that's a very tricky corner. You can easily lock your tyres and just go straight off onto the runoff area. Cliffy going significantly fast on this lap. Oh, runs wide. Don't want to go on the gravel. I like the fact that there is still quite a lot of gravel this track to punish mistakes. I think too many tracks these days have ridiculous runoff areas which don't punish mistakes. This is a track where there are still some gravel areas. Again, pulls into the bits. Again, just getting a field track. Anyone else out on the lap at the moment? Michemery up to 3rd. AMS in 4th. Falcon in 5th. Obviously not in the session at the moment. Hopefully he can rejoin. Not hearing of any restart. Game of the Best I don't think has rejoined. So at the moment, the former championship leader is in 17th. This is not good news at all for his championship chances. CCBRAIN moves slightly ahead of Abiodun in the battle of the Germans for bragging rights. Now, let's talk about CSR Leon for a second, the only driver in the league who hasn't scored a point yet. He's had some rotten luck. He's currently in the top 10, 9th position. Let's just see. Yeah, so everybody, as you would expect, given the information we know, top 12 on the Ultrasofts, and I think everybody will be using the Ultrasofts by the end of the race. It's such a short circuit, I would expect there would be at least 3 runs here that they'll manage to get. Given how sort of misty it is, I think they want to begin their runs in it as quickly as possible, because you never know, there could be some rain in the last 5 minutes which would really mess up potential positions for those at the bottom of the moment. Lewis is on a lap, so let's have a look at the reigning champion. I think he's about to start a lap here. Lewis running wide out the corner, but gets plenty of speed. So here we go then. Lewis here at Hockenheim, the reigning champion. Had a really strong result last week for his second podium of the season. It's been a patchy season so far for Lewis, but that was a sign that some of the form that made him the champion last season has been returning. And if he can get another podium here at least, then he could, by the end of the season, play himself back into contention for this championship. But after this race, we only have 5 races. So really, there are certain drivers such as Lewis and Asbest who, can't really afford too many more poor races, or they will be out of contention by the time we get to Singapore, which starts the final 3 races of the season. So here comes Lewis then, heading towards the inside. It will run slightly wide, although that particular corner is quite kind on the track extensions compared to the Nord curve, which is the exit of turn 1. So he should be okay there, and he's still pushing, so I would suspect no harm done there. Through sector 3, the Ferrari sweeps through. Crowd rising. Not for Sebastian Vettel, but for the reigning champion Lewis. Heads towards the line. What's this going to be for the reigning champion? Oh, maybe he did invalidate. No, he didn't invalidate. It's just 6 cents, well, over 6 cents off. So he's into the top 10. I forgot he hadn't set a lap time yet. So we've got 3 drivers who haven't set a time yet. I am wondering if Game of the Best has managed to rejoin. Falcon's in 6th at the moment. Don't think he has. I am looking at the F1 chats to see, if there is anything happening. But again, with these storms that we've got, maybe it's affected a few people if they are in the same region I am. Yeah, it looks like Game of the Best apparently is having internet issues, so it might be related to that. So yeah, that would be a shame for the championship if Game of the Best can't rejoin, at least for the race. So Lewis with less fuel, I think, well, he doesn't, is he going to carry on? He's only got 3 minutes session to go. Surely he's going to peel off back into the pits. Yeah, he will be. Oh, he nearly missed the entry completely. Pretty scrappy stuff. And KB Killer coming out for his outlap. What about Blizzard? Yeah, here comes Blizzard. Is this a flying lap? Here we go then. Through the final section of corners then. Blizzard currently in provisional pole position on another set of Ultrasofts heading towards the line. What's this going to be for Blizzard? Is this in the 1:09 9s? And nearly is a flat 1:10.060. He won't have enough fuel to do another run, so that will be the best he will get, but that's a strong time. A 1:10 flat from Blizzard. Can anyone respond to that? KB Killer might be one of them. Lickle Blocks, we know he can be really strong in qualifying. But it's a significant amount of time some of these drivers have got to find, and that is if they can actually keep a clean lap. So I think by the looks of it, there's been a lot of invalidation so far here at the Hockenheim ring. So Cliffy in P18 at the moment. There were rumours that the Renault team were going to split the strategy with Cliffy starting from the back and Falcon in the top 10. But that was probably before they found out it was going to be a wet race. So I think Cliffy's going to have to maybe try and qualify as high up as they can. Anyone responds? AMS in 4th at the moment. I mean, surely they would be fueling for longer. AMS is still going, currently in 4th position. What about Lickle Blocks? Where's Lickle? Lickle heads to the line. That's the start of a lap. What about KB Killer? No, KB Killer's in the pits. it's just come out. KB Killer, well, he's going to have to get a move on because he's not going to make it back out. Cliffy is on an out lap as well. And then we've got likes of Big C also on an out lap. It's going to be quite the finish to this qualifying session. Leon is also on an out lap as well. They're all building up now for what will be a very dramatic end to qualifying. But like I say, they've got to find a lot of time. AMS carries on then. I think this will be the last of his runs. He doesn't have the fuel to go any further. AMS carries on. Is he going to head back to the pits, or has he got a bit more time to move up from the current fourth he is? Doesn't look particularly smooth on the wheel here. He's heading towards the line. What's this going to be? He doesn't improve. And that'll be the end of his session. Michemery heading towards turn 8. Is there anyone else? I'm sorry I'm switching, but it's such a short track. I have to keep an eye on. Leon retires from the session as he had a crash somewhere. I'm not sure. Liquor blocks building up. It's only 30 seconds of the session to go. They are cutting it so fine, some of these drivers. What about Big C? Yeah, Big C, he's definitely on a lap there, following the Renault of Cliffy up ahead. Actually, we'll look at Cliffy first, because Cliffy is on a flying run. He's currently in P18, doesn't have any time so far, needs to find something. We'll switch to Big C immediately as soon as Cliffy crosses the line. No, Cliffy has invalidated. So he's going to start at the back of the grid. So here we go then. Big C heading for the line. What's it going to be for the McLaren driver? It is only P12. Has Lewis got time at all? What about Ash Best? KB Killer, the likes of those drivers. Michemery in third at the moment. Liquor Blocks in fourth. Will carry on with KB Killer. Can he possibly respond to Blizzard's time and take the pole position away? Still plenty of drivers out there. Oh, KB Killer running wide. That's not going to help him with his time. He heads to the line. Don't think it's going to be quite quick enough. No, he doesn't improve at all. Michemery's session is over. Here comes Liquor Blocks. Lewis is up to third, the reigning champion, with a really strong time. I'm not sure if anyone's going to be able to... Oh, Liquor runs wide. Was that an invalidation? He goes into P2. Liquor Block splits the Toro Rossos. What about AMS? Oh, AMS is done. Is there anyone else out there on a lap? Michemery. Yeah, Michemery's session is over. So that's a great time from Liquor Blocks to split the Toro Rossos. But in the end, Blizzard once again, the master of qualifying in PSGL F1 at the moment. That's his second pole position in a row. And with Game of the Best at the back of the grid and Big C only in 13th, Blizzard is in a position where he could really extend the championship lead. But there's a long way to go. This is a track which is difficult enough in the dry conditions, but if it's a wet race, the slightest miscalculation, especially at corners like the Nord curve, could be an absolute disaster for any driver. So don't be surprised if we see a few retirements because of that, as I get some nice experience points. Always appreciate the Cosmo. So here is your qualifying result then of the PSGL F1 German Grand Prix. Blizzard takes pole position. Liquor Blocks in second. KB Killer in third. Lewis in fourth. Michemery in fifth. AMS in sixth. Leon in seventh, which will be good for his chances for points. Abiodun, the highest German runner, in 8th. Falcon in 9th. Leefindlay on his debut in PSGL F1, getting a good top 10 position. Max Luca in 11th. CCBRAIN, Big C, Sambamkid, Ugizim, Ash Best, Hamilton. And then at the back of the grid, we have Cliffy and Game of the Best. Well, that was a fascinating qualifying position. Well, I've been keeping an eye on the stream, and it looks like my connection has calmed down a bit. I did have high ping earlier on, but it seems to be okay then. Here we are then. Heavy rain, I can see on screen at the moment. And actually, let's actually check. Is this intermediate or is it... No, it's full wet conditions then. So I think that's our first full wet running of the season in a race, I do believe. That is very interesting indeed. It's a very short run to turn 1 here. 310 meters. And then the longest section of track is, of course, the back straight at the Parabolica, well over 1,000 meters there. And they're full throttle 53.5% of the lap. Because there's a lot of fastness and there's also a lot of heavy braking zones as well. Sector 3 in particular quite slows down the car once you go through turn 13. So just waiting for them to select their strategies. Everyone will be on the wet tyres, so no real surprises in terms of tyres unless someone's decided to be really bold. But no, everyone on the wet tyres as the Toro Rosso of Blizzard pulls away from the grid to get us underway for the formation lap. Well, it's going to be a very tricky turn 1 for these drivers. They've really got to have to give each other space and be cautious into there. Now, in terms of the top 2, they shouldn't have to brake for the first corner because they're simply not going to build up enough speed to have to. So really, the biggest danger here on lap 1 isn't so much turn 1 to an extent, it's the concertina effect at the hairpin because everyone brakes more or less at the same time, and if anyone mistimes it, they can easily slam into the cars. So don't be surprised to see a bit of carbon fibre flying there for drivers caught out by that. But there should be enough room for everybody. So you got to wonder, the drivers towards the front of the grid, were they running pure dry setups which are then having to adjust for the wet conditions? Were those further down the grid running full wet setups? Because when you have a wet race after a dry qualifying session, it doesn't always tell the full story of what the true pace of the drivers are, because compromises have to be made for a wet race, of course. So Blizzard, I haven't actually seen him race in too many wet races, so I'm not entirely sure what his wet weather pace is like. In the past, especially on F1 2017, Ash Best in this league was outstanding in the wet conditions. But so this is, you know, a leap into the unknown for the PSGL F1 grid, getting a wet race like this. As we head towards the start of this race then, the grid builds up. Blizzard, wisely I think, slowing the pack down, doesn't want to be waiting on the grid for too long, otherwise that will affect his tyre temperatures. But you know, anyone who's running high ballast is really going to struggle. Especially on the opening laps when they've got cold tyres. And the car may just evacuate the track and send them into the deathly embrace of one of the walls. Here we go then, Blizzard, Liquor Blocks on the front row. Keep an eye out for those two. Let's get a decent camera view. I think that is all we're going to get. Well, Charlie's taking a while to give the green flag. Still not getting any green flag. Oh dear. Charlie needs to wake up. I really hope this isn't a desync where they're racing. This is not good. I'm literally getting nothing. Let me just check the chat to see if anything. Hopefully it's not just going to suddenly appear. I think we may have some issues with the lobby here, guys. Do apologise. Yep, we are stuck on the grid. Has anyone stalled? My money's on Cliffy. No, I'm just joking. No, I think we've got problems with the lobby here. Or it's a massive desync for me. But judging by the chatter we're getting in the F1 league on PSN, I think it looked... Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. Let's have a quick look at the race director, see if there's any indication. Yeah, it looks like someone may have not connected properly, but if they leave... Yes, I think there may have to be a restart of the lobby. Yep, there's going to be a restart then. That's confirmed. So yeah, apologise everybody. It's going to be a heavy rain race. So actually, in a way, if it's heavy rain, it should be easy to set up again. Yep, so we have red flag conditions here. Charlie wasn't happy, so we are going to get a new lobby. which will give me an opportunity actually, I think, to restart the stream and just make sure everything's okay. Oh, wait a minute. We have got to start now. I think it's still going to be a restart. Yeah, still will be a restart. So I think let's put this up on the screen. May give them a chance to do a bit of wet practice while the new lobby is made. So let's leave the session. Right, guys. Just gonna look back through the quali and see what the quality was like, and then if it's okay, then I won't restart. Yeah, there were a few drops of frame, so I'm going to take this opportunity to restart the stream, guys. I just keep here on the channel, and it will be back shortly. We haven't got a new lobby yet, so apologies for that. I will be back in a few minutes. Thank you very much.